Welcome back to part 13 in the NX-01 build. Today we're going to start assembling the lower hull, or the secondary hull I should say. Not really lower because it's not a ship like the others, it's kind of a flat plane. So we're going to actually start working on getting that hull put together and getting the nacelles attached to that and getting the wires run through there. So let's get started.
Welcome back. We're going to try to get this hull together tonight. I think I got everything prepped. They even went as far as marking, what sides. I put a green mark on that side. So I put all the pieces together correctly when time comes. And blue's on. Put red on this side. I even marked the green in there so I know that this is that nacelle. Goes on there. I put a little barrier here to block the top beacon here from the impulse crystal, which will be a constant light, and I'm going to have this one on mine flash. So I believe I've seen some episodes on the show where that's flashing, but I know for sure the bottom is, and that's why I have the flashing one on the bottom. But to me, if you have one up top or one on the bottom and one directly above, I might as well have that one flash too. Although I think on the refit the top one didn't and the bottom one does. But I'm trying to think on the back of that, does it work that way? No, there's that one that's on that little piece, that's a constant on, and the one up top is a constant on. But I figured this would just give it a little more animation there, to have that flash. So those two are flashing together. Doesn't always have to be canon. Sometimes you can take liberties and do what you want. Since there's only the beacons on here and the one on the bridge, and then there's of course the ones by the navigation light. But I figured a hull could use something. So, but yeah, I just took a piece of styrene, glued that down there. That'll go in between the two bulbs. They'll slide down in between these two bulbs. Because I definitely wanted the bottom one to flash, and I didn't know how to, to come up with a way to block the flashing light and then put another constant light up top. And I didn't want it constant because I know for sure I've seen the bottom one flash. So it was just easier just to make the top one flash with it. So. But I didn't want the bleaker or the flash to show up in here, or the constant light from the impulse crystal to constantly glow the beacon. So we'll see if it works. I don't know. They're so close together. So I think that's why a lot of people just keep it constant. But I'm hoping that'll isolate it. I hope it isolates it on the bottom too. Tough to tell. Do a little dry fit here, and once you get it down to where it needs to be, it's hard to see what's going on there. Like a little flashlight or something. As long as it's higher, it comes down lower than the constant light, it should help block a lot of it. We might get a little glow. But come on. I hope that pin isn't breaking. It's flimsy, but that's where we're at. And I also took the liberty to go through and actually shrink tube these wires. I shrink tube the on the nacelle. I shrink tube the sards together as a bundle because they do have red and black, and I don't want them to get mixed up with the red and black constant power for the engine. And then I have the strobe wire, and I kept that together because I kind of did that for here too. So, and that's easy to tell the difference because they're brown and blue, the strobes. So, and it makes two nice bundles that I can run through. The engines are all painted up. Got the gold stripe on there. And I forgot to turn the good mic on, so first half of this probably sounds like poop. But all right. Well, I think it's time to get this hull and nacelle section all together. I went through and did a few things off camera. I put a light blocking piece here. Just took a piece of black styrene, glued it in between the impulse crystal and the beacon. That way, that helps eliminate some of that bleed. I hope it works. It's kind of dry fitting the judge, you know, how to get this as far down to cover those bulbs when it's closed, and that piece will go in between the two bulbs. This is the steady on for the crystal, and this is a flasher. You know, I noticed on the show that this does flash, so I figured I didn't want any bleeding in between them. And then I'm just going to have the top one flash as well. I don't remember if it does or not. Most of the time I think that Starfleet ships would only have the bottom one flash, but I don't feel like trying to come up with a way of blocking that as well and having a constant light. You know, I guess I could take the constant light from the impulse crystal since they're so close, but then I'd have to block that, and which I probably could have laid a piece of styrene, but it gets a little tight in there, believe it or not. So I figured I'd have both of them flash. It would look kind of cool, that flashing and these flashing, so on the nacelle. So I went and did that. What other things have I done to get this prepped? Just for precaution, I took some green paint and painted that side, the right side green, and marked it on that, and even marked it on this. That way when I'm got glue going, I can get all the pieces correct, so I know what side everything's supposed to be on, and mix that up. What else did I do? Nacelles, I got that all, the gold part, which I used an antique bronze. Got that all painted in. Everything's all ready for these. I shrunk tube the wires so I don't have all these different wires and getting mixed up, especially when the sards themselves actually have a red and black. So, and the one red actually is a light to flicker. The black is still a neutral, so, or a negative wire. But I got those, and then I just bundled the flashers and the constant power together because that's easy to tell what's what. I did that on both of them. So everything's just prepped to put together and go. Oh, and on those secondary impulses, I got puttied them up and sanded those. They're coming out good. I snuck some tape. I was like, when I gotta paint that, I might hit that bulb in there because it's just an open hole right now. And I want to paint it first before I put the window maker, you know, in there. So I was actually able to take scrap pieces of tape and slide it in there, and then I can pull it out. And that'll at least just protect the bulb. And this is the positive and negative of the LED. Keep that from getting boogered up. And yeah, I hope this works doing it together first. That once I put everything together, I can, you know, and I'm going to leave some wires out of the hull, sticking out of the hull when I put it together, and then I should be able to solder them on, tuck the excess back in, and
slide those on. I still got to paint those yet. Did a few things on the saucers. Right now I got some window maker back here on the observatory or whatever that room is. And that's still curing, so I'm going to leave that on. I got the torpedo tubes in. There they are on the back. You can see one there, one there. And I got the 4 on the front. Did those a regular bronze, which has a copperishy kind of color to it, and I like it. Finally some other color to the bottom of the hull. I got the thruster ports on. See that? Those look good. I got the tower on the back. That's looking good. Tested the lighting on that. It lights up good. And all I did there is actually painted it. It's a clear part completely. And it's 2 pieces. It's this piece and then the cap on top. And I just painted it completely black. And then I painted it the silver. And then I just went in and scratched away the windows instead of trying to tape them. And it worked really good. And glued those together with the canopy glue. And started doing a little bit of detail last night. It's going to be hard to see. But yeah, it's definitely going to be hard to see. But I did some like regular bronze, antique bronze around the doors, on the actual bay doors or whatever those are, and around here where there's going to be a docking clamp. I got to do the photo etches for the docking clamp there. I'm going to leave the actual docking door the photo etch color because it's like a brass color, and then there's a piece that glues on top of it. I'm going to do that in a silver, but yeah, when I get up close I get out of the light, so it's the only bad thing. But I'll show you that in a later episode, and then details on those walls. I did all that. Yeah, as soon as I come closer to the camera, I get out of the light, so I'm sorry about that, folks. These pieces are on. Let's see, I'll flip it up this way. Those pieces are on. They're thruster ports that are gold and silver, and I just got to paint these that are actually molded on each side. They're actually molded into the actual wall. But yeah, it's looking good. Thruster ports are pretty well light blocked too. So, or the torpedo launchers. On this side, now that they're glued in, I'll go and paint them black because they do glow themselves. I drilled holes through them because I'm actually going to have those light, and I think I'm just going to run 3 standard, I think they're a 3mm, maybe a 5, I'm not sure. But I'll run 3 flashers. I'm not going to hook them up to a circuit board, just regular flashing LEDs that are pre-wired with a resistor. And I figure I'd run 3 of them. And on one I'll do this one and this one, so they'll light up at the same time, and then this one and this one, and then these 2. So kind of, and I think I'm going to do them on a separate circuit so I can have them off when I don't want them to. So that's that. And there's a little bit. Try to do this real quick. A little bit got done on the upper saucer. I got the, I guess they're called a turbocharger. Got them painted and put in. Painted the dome in antique gold. So now there's 2 different color differences between the, or it's not antique gold, it's an antique bronze. So now there's a different color difference between that, which is more of a coppery bronze, and then the antique bronze is more of a goldish bronze. I just have it sitting on there just to see how it looks. Get it back up there. Got the, I guess these are hatches. Painted on mine, I decided to go with just a straight up silver. Some people do the bronzy gold, but I wanted to add some more differences to it. Got the thruster ports on, got the tower on back here. Its windows are, you know, put the whole piece in and the top cap on that. So that's looking good. And like I said, I'll do more close-ups on where the camera is actually in the light a little later, but so that's coming along really good. But let's get this hull together. This has been something I've been waiting for. And of course, you know, I just did a dry fit on the deflector array dish. But that's going to be a while for that because I got all these little parts that go in there. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that go across there and all that other stuff, so. But anyway, let's get to the getting here. Whoop, dropping stuff. Alright, okay. So, what I think I'm going to do first here, I wasted almost 10 minutes it seems, is I think I'm going to glue these to the nacelles, because we got to get that all going. Because this can't go to that, the bottom can't attach to the top until the nacelles are run through. And we can fish the wire through all that. But it looks like how this, and I probably should have left this piece off and glued this together into the nacelles first and then glued the whole attachment to this. But I wanted this to have a good angle and structure without weight on it. So we'll see how it works out. My luck, it'll fight me, but that's so is scale model building. But let's do a dry fit on this to make sure they want to snap in there. And this is the red. See, that's why I do that. I can see the red navigation light up on this top here, and I know to grab the right piece. So you're gonna go, and then these tabs are a half a circle to fit in these holes that are half a circle. Actually went in pretty good. I'm gonna scuff them and stuff to get a good glue bond because there's paint on them. And in there too. I have some small enough to get in there, not sure. Let's see. Let's see if I can, or I can roll up a piece of, I could use a razor blade to scrape in there. I have raw plastic to make sure the cement bonds is to it. All I'm doing is just taking the tip of a razor blade in there and scraping. Yeah, see, there we go. Scraping that paint to make sure I have a it's much easier dealing with those wires as two bundles than careful there than dealing with all however many they are. Alright, that'll work. And these I could either scrape, or maybe I'll take a, you know, when I want a round file, I won't grab a round file, and then when I want a more flat file, I'll grab a round file. There we go. Kind of a little worried about scraping here because I have a feeling that's going to show. Even in just a little bit. Because just by dry fitting that on, and it should, I'll do the tips of it. There we go. And I'm watching the actual Enterprise show on Netflix, but I see that come September 30th is your last chance to watch any Star Trek on Netflix. I don't know if their contract, because I was wondering how with Paramount having its own streaming channel with the Picard series and stuff, how that was going to work, you know, how that was working. That they were still letting Netflix, because Netflix had Star Trek on for a long time when Paramount didn't have its own channel. And yeah, I was wondering how that was going to work. So it looks like either their contract, because they might have been they might have had some type of contract to play their shows, and that might be up, and so they couldn't take it off even though they had their own channel called, I think it's Paramount Plus. So that's what I'm guessing. That's probably what happened. So their contract's up and they're not renewing it. Because I can't believe Netflix would just get rid of it just to get rid of it. Because I would think there's still some people out there that's watching. You know, between the original series, Next Generation, Voyager, all those. I think Paramount just wants to play them on theirs now. And they're able to. After September 30th. So, I'm already been in the looks for getting, because I do like this series. I'm actually liking this series more than the others. You know, and I do like Next Generation, but Deep Space Nine I watched some episodes and I like, but I want to really get into watching that because I know from watching a series called, Star Trek Retrospect, it gets pretty cool with the Dominion War and everything. So Voyager, I don't know. I love the ship, but it never overly caught my interest. I've watched episodes but I would like to start watching them, especially if I do get a Voyager kit. So that's what happens. I get into watching the show. I mean, it was because of getting this kit, and I just got this kit because I like the model and I want to build the Enterprise lineage. So this is the first of the Enterprise starships. So, in a sense, so I started watching the show and started liking it. So, well, all right, that fits in there good. We got. I think I can get a little more out of that. Still see a little bit of paint there. I think I'm going to go with the handy dandy tube model cement because I think that's going to give me the strongest grab. And then I don't know then I dab a little bit up here on the tops. This side don't really have much to it. Should I Well, it's not really going to bond much to that. I might take a little bit of paint off this edge. I'll bond a little bit of there. And that's probably where I'll throw some super glue to really grab it. The super glue does not want to stick to paint, so probably should find some 320 sandpaper. I'll really get some tooth too. Let's doing this and trying to be careful that in case there is a seam and an opening. But I'm not sure exactly where it's going to fall in there, so I have no idea where to scrape on that. So that's kind of a fun part, but at least if it's bonding to one side really good, it makes me feel a little better. But yeah, you always want to clean these parts up, especially if they're holding some type of weight. Even though these nacelles don't really weigh much at all, but they're all riding on that little peg, those two little pegs. So let's give it all the help it can get. The super glue is really just going to be a tack on, and I'll probably put some tube glue. This side really has, should have left that piece of sandpaper out. This side really has some areas that I can get it to grab onto. We use 320 because A, it's sanding through the paint faster, and B, it gives it that tooth. Something really grippy. You're actually increasing the surface area because every one of those little scratch V's is more surface than if it's flat. So, alrighty. I'll leave that out because for some reason I'll probably need it again. So, red nacelle, red part. Go away until a little bit from now. Probably should get this leaning. I'll have to sit there forever waiting for the glue. And yeah, we're gonna majorly bond this with and I'll put the super glue on this because this is going to be on first, and I don't want it to freeze into because this is probably going to wobble, yeah, until this tells it exactly where to go. And it should be really fun to get this to snap onto there while this is kind of loose. Should really be fun. I wish we could have, you know, had the wire sticking up and then attached it on there, but that wasn't really a good, really viable option. This tube's about to die, so you got to squeeze in there. I'm sure it's going to explode. Get it really good around these pegs. Stop bubbling. Alright. Nothing to it but to do it, right? That wants to go out like that, and I don't want it to. So before I squish it in there. There we go. Before it's completely dry. I never grab the one I want. When I want the clean pointy toothpick, I won't get the clean pointy toothpick. Yes, Brooke, I know you're down here. I hear you, big mouth. guess we can get some. The bad thing about the tube cement, you get all the strings. I mean, you can kind of feel where it wants to lay, but that's not going to be, like I said, until we get we're going to be in limbo for a little bit until we get it onto this. This piece we don't need until the very end. Let's get it out of the way. You're not part of this side. Alright, we're doing the red, so you're going to fall like that. So the best thing you're going to do the bubbles, I can't tell how much I put on. We got to get these fished through the hole here. Let's do these guys first. Come on, I'm on a time restraint here. Should have twisted them together. That would have been easier. Go. Are you going around something? Yes, you are. Actually, I wonder if I want all of them to go like that. That'll keep them, I believe, away from the impulse bulbs, engine bulbs. Yeah, there we go. Alright, and these I have twisted together, so. Come in slightly a tight fit, especially with the shrink tube. So maybe I get it past the shrink tube. Assuming I gotta go past this last bit of shrink tube. That's what I was betting on. So I had flexible wire for this curve. Alright, I think so. Now, I haven't figured out how we're doing this yet. And I'm gonna even put a little more in here. It should stay in the notch pretty well. Seems to be the way to go. Got those line up. I think I got those line up. Oh, damn, that wasn't too bad. I probably also could put these two together, just have, that's another thing I might try. Because I could probably pull this out, re-glue it, and then I can get the super glue and everything in there. Because I left slack in the wire. Yeah. It's bonding really good. So let's leave it alone. Something like that. Nice thing about the tube glue is before it completely cures, I can just scrape the little boogies off. And I'll pull it, I'll take the thin, to me a thin, you don't want to mess with it too much. I mean, there's going to be touch-ups, so. Now, I don't know. I'll get some clamps on this. Bam, there. I'll do this one from the other side. Those pegs were about there, right? Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I gotta get something down in there. I can get some super glue down in there if I use a. Yeah, that's how I'm going to do the other one. I kind of did this one not the way I should have done it. I should clamp these together and then push it down, because like I said, I did leave slack in the wire, like so it can push, you know. Run the wire through the pylons, clamp the pylons through. It'll be tight, but I left enough slack, you know, play that I can get. Be very careful to try to get some super glue. I can't talk. Super glue. Down there so I can do this. Yeah. Somehow. But I wanted to keep rolling. Leave this, get some activator. You never want to spray when I need you. I can get some thin super glue down there. It's always a danger messing with the thin stuff. Let's get you cats. Get stuff out of my way here. I hate the feeling when there's too much stuff around and you're dripping, and that's just awesome. Things can get crazily messy. No real good way to get in here. thing is you don't want to push so hard on these impulse engines. So at least, because it knocks. They didn't put any real center structure in it, which I get because it's hard to. There we go. I'm happy with that. How's this all looking? And now we can start putting 4 of them on it. Really? You're gonna play that game? They really should have put rubber feet on these. Sorry. Because then I could get further out to that edge without them wanting to do that. There.
Sneaky snap. Flippy flap.
Spring it apart. Get one more there. That'll make me happy. And then those will run out like that. So far so good. I heard these were a pain. You've got a slight gap but for all the weird shapes that's going on right there, I am happy with that because I already seen what everybody else went through. So it's no surprise. How are they lining up? I hope so. Can't really tell until we get the other one on. But like I think what I'm going to do the next one is put the nacelle here. I have a little bit of wire that can go in and out of the nacelle. And get it routed through and then glue this down. I could have used some super glue and maybe 2 tabs. I should have done super glue and 2 tabs just to get that to, you know, these clamps are going to have to hold it for a bit. That's all. And get the wires run through, clamp this, glue this and stuff, and then set the nacelle, because then I can hit this surface here with some glue, and some especially super glue. So I think that's how I'm going to do the other one, but live and learn. It's kind of what I was planning, and then I just got so excited to get it done, to get going. I don't think I'm going to use this. I don't know. Can I get that to go down there? And is this water? That's one thing I never paid attention. Is this water soluble? Like, does it wash off with water? This is the Tester's non-toxic liquid cement. But I wonder if it's like the window maker where you can. There's only one way to find out, huh? A test piece of styrene here. Because if I can squirt that down in there, in the gap, it does wipe off. Let's try it. Because I got a semi-damp Q-tip here from doing the window maker earlier. Maybe I'll get some of this down here first. This is a really bonder. As I say that, it wants to hang out on top too. those cracks, seams. My mouth ain't that big. So, I hate when you come out of there and you hit the wall and then you lose all your cement. So let's get some down there. Goes. Get in there better. Yeah, that's working pretty good. Like I said, I wonder if I can. Now that I got that in there, that really melts plastic. We'll do that. Tired of these allergies. I wonder if I can get a little bit. Come on. Where's my little starter stick? If I can get a little bit in there. Like that, and take a wet. It actually does work. That I did not know. Like I said, I'm going to be touching that all up, so not a big deal. But it's filling up the seam. Pretty decently. Up in here where I can see really well, I'll use the window maker, because the window maker will help on, but down there, that worked good. So, but it's not as, I am noticing it's not as good with as like the window maker, so water soluble, you just whisk it away. It does leave a little bit of a residue. Where was it, under here? Yeah, I see a little bit of a residue. Like I said, all this is going to get sanded and it will attack the paint a little bit. So, like I said, I'm going to be taping this off. This is the nacelle, the main part. I don't want to get it on, and we'll be going in there and I can and hitting it with airbrush anyway. So we'll leave it. How's that in there? What are you hanging out there? Where's my pointy one? There it is. But let's let that set and do its thing as we prep the other one. Because I want to have them together so I can see what's going on. So I'll grab the other engine. let's try this the better way. My goodness. The cat's went to the bathroom. Probably didn't cover. Let's try this a better way, I think. And the way I was pretty much thinking about doing, but of course. Because I left a little bit of, that can go like that. So, this time I'm going to also weed this thing, the fatter wire bundle through first. And what did we do? We went kind of this way, because there's that flat peg. It's back there. We want to get it to that past this one. There we go. Yeah, and see, I still have play. So. Get these guys twisted together so it's not as much of a pain in the neck as it was the other one. And we're going to shoot for an angle. There we go. All through the right way, yep. And get it past that shrink tube. Because in these bends, I didn't want this tough shrink tube to try to make that bend, you know, like that. I didn't want the shrink tube to try to make that quick bend, so I kind of scaled it out that I wouldn't do that. That I wouldn't have to do that. That they'll still bend like that, and then I still have play here. So that's what we'll do. And then I can do this, and then attach her on. So we'll actually, did I scrape all that? No, I did not. I cleaned this part up, but I didn't clean this part up, but that's simple. Go. So let's do this the way I was hoping to do it. I'm going to do a little super glue on this side too. So we'll do I always try to pick a top on one side, a bottom on the other. And then how's that gonna lay? It's gonna lay like this, so we'll do a little here too. My holes are pretty clean, so don't have to worry about that. And then we'll do the super glue. But now this isn't as much of a race, because I can just, come on. Like I said, this medium super glue I've had so long it's starting to become a heavy, where it doesn't want to come out. Now, felt something sticky in my hand, and I don't want that because I got to touch stuff. I can just lift that up like that, the nacelle will hang down. Try to line these pins up. Boom. And I could completely just wait, clamp these and wait. I should have still enough wire to pull this guy out. Yeah. Because even if I wanted to, I could shove that up and you can get more. So, but let's clamp you guys together and then that was the way to do it, for sure. Serious battle going on over there. And I'll just give that a few minutes and then I'll pull these out of the way. Let's make sure the rest you use looking good. Yeah, see, that's the way to do it, because then I can put the glue on there and then for now I can just dry fit her on there. Do that, I need to just so it keeps just keep that down. Let's dry fit her on there just so it keeps the other nacelle happy. Alright, I'm liking it. It's working. Only have a little seam mark. This front edge will do, because that's two smooth pieces coming together. So we'll do that front edge. And like I said, I think I can get some window canopy glue in that seam. And either airbrush or I might even just just regular hand brush, because the acrylic lies good, and then hit it with a clear and it will be fine. I like it. But yeah, I'll leave it off there. I mean, this is just going to be gluing that on when it's ready. But then we'll come back and we'll in a little bit and see how the bottom snaps on there. That should be interesting, because always the area that gives you trouble here is in the center here. These parts here seem to be clamping down fine, and I think the reason why this is a little tight ski is, and I did file these more, is these little clear parts, top and bottom, even with the little 3mm light bulb, it's a tight fit. I should almost file the bulb down a little bit too. I probably could on these pieces, because it's probably those there that are hitting the most. Oh, that's the clamp tub. Because now that I'm looking at it, yeah, it would be that little round spot. Can I get a file? These other little screwdrivers I might take out of this file. I'm always picking them up. Always in the way. Can I do something here? Carefully just move that up an inch. Also looking at those there, but they're still springing in this lower hole because there's only 1/2 of it. I want to get you on the mat. So. Any little bit I can get off these. It's just those lights being sandwiched between the two clear parts. And I did file those when I built this, so I might have had to go a little more. And I did do dry fits, but and it fit pretty good when I did a dry fit with that. But still, it was still a little weird. And once I get there, because this is going to be another area, it's going to be clamp monster. I'm glad I got these clamps. I mean, tape works, but for most applications, I'll use tape. Because I'm always worried about the clamps marking, because they didn't put rubber feet. So I might buy like a thin rubber thing that has a backing on it, like a 3M backing on it, and put them on these. Or order some that do have rubber feet, and I can use these for when I have raw unpainted parts. But and I like that these turn, but if I can get like I could probably even put tape down there, but I don't want the sticky side to show, and I don't want to ruin this ability to swivel. So if I can find something that I can stick on there, so I protect, because right now it's bothering me that they're sitting on that raised detail. Even though it's cleared, I just gotta make sure I grab them and lift. You know, some chipping, it's alright. This ship is, especially if you watch the show, goes through some heavy. I mean, this is pretty. This is respectable gap. That's respectable there, but this one really went together tight. So I'm very happy with that. I did have a little, some reason the one thing with the super glue, you gotta go quick, and it had I didn't notice it until I came back and it was open there, so I actually had to go in with my good sharp pliers. I could get in there and cut that little nub and cut it back so that that would close, and then I just glued it here in this corner. I could actually lift it up because this piece kind of does this. That little, of course it's always off camera, that little piece there rolls over on the other piece, and I could get some model cement in there, and then I held it together and then put a dab of crazy glue in there, and that fixed that problem. But yeah, I didn't notice that the crazy glue set up really quick. There might have been, heck, there could have been a residue from the kicker, because even though you might have sprayed an area close, and with a kicker spray, as soon as you put it down, it starts activating, you know, super glue that you just, like, I could spray this right here and then put glue there, spray that with the activator, and it looks completely dry, but then spray it there and it still starts activating. There's like must be like a residue or something that it leaves. When I was trying to get my pliers in there, clip this corner, there's no problem. I had to get in there and cut that tab because it was, the peg was only going so far in and it was fused, so I had to snip it there, and then snip the rest so it would close down, which was a quick fix. There's something there to grab. All those seams look pretty good, as good as they can be, especially the front side's what I'm really concerned about, and that looks really good. So I am very happy, but I'm really happy with the second side. Besides, it was going to give me a little, toying with me a little bit there. Like, this one does have a little bit of a gap, but this side's really tight. As tight as it can be with the parts, the way they're detailed. And then when I'm looking in here, that side looks really good. But this side looked really good too. Like I said, a little window maker, and I'll stick some canopy glue in there, and that'll fill in those gaps, which also will help for if there's any light leaking from the nacelle strip. Because how is that sitting? I think it's sitting from the top, kind of pointing down a little bit, and so it could try to leak some light out that way. The refit, I stuck some foam. I had some black foam that I stuck up in there that helped like block it. That way it just doesn't make your seam want to glow. So yeah, very happy. I should get my hot glue gun and glue these down. Or yeah, because these are on the other side glued here. I'd want to put these up top, and then as they fall out of the hole they can fall where they want. But that worked out good, having the extra play in the wires. I can still feel them even moving into the nacelles. The SARD ones are a little tougher to get to move, but I can feel them moving. But I like play. I don't like any overly tight wires. No need for it. Got plenty of it. We'll probably do something like that. That one can tuck under that. I'm glad I thought about not having the... That one's kind of bending, but I might have some of that tucked in there. I do. I remember to make sure it's just wires going through that hole, because it's sometimes tough to bend that. I imagine you could heat it up and do that and get it to bend around that corner. But now that we try to fit all this, how's this all gonna fit? I don't even know if I've ever tried. I think I did once with these on. Nah. She's gonna go like that. Hi, Burp Kitty. So we could try that. I think I'm gonna stick with the model cement, but I want to get the cloths because I noticed that the clamps here were. That's why I took them off, and they're set anyway. They're not going nowhere. So, especially this side because it's crazy glued, at least up there. Because I hand brushed these on, it's thick, and like I said, with the acrylics, they're kind of spongy, you know. And even with a little bit of hardener in there or clear to help it cure, even with a little clear there to make it cure. It's still sometimes a little spongy because I didn't really heavy clear them. Maybe I should have gave them a better blast of clear. I want to just super glue those, or should I get my hot glue? It takes a minute or two for the hot glue to warm up, but so far everything looks good. And I mean, it worked out fine, especially when I did this the right way. Because I wanted to get this on here because I could make sure they were square without any weight on them. You know, because then you'd have to worry about this, clamping all this with the weight, or doing this, and then you'd have to make sure that this is, you know, level. Like now I can, you know, I pretty much pick them up. They fit right in it. It looks right, but it's going to be hard to tell until we truly get the bottom on, because I think that's what's going to make it sit, so it doesn't bow here. It's bowing right here at these points. But if I try to keep it level and square to those parts, those nacelles look great. So, and for some reason I heard there was issues with that The refit is a real toughie to get like that, because it is a tough part to get together when you put those nacelles down. It seriously is a... The way they clip on with the two pegs, and they're so... Not only are they just huge, and they're going on this little footprint. The pylons aren't that big. Not only are they huge, but they're tall, you know, they're more tall. They're kind of like rectangles, and they want to do this, and they're just on what, 3 or 4 pegs, kind of go into a little hole like this. I think they kind of claw in like that, so they want to do this. So they're real tough to keep in line. Yeah, hot glue is just easier to deal with super glue, but I just got to heat this thing up. Hot glue gun heating up. Tell you what, buying that big shelf where I can have all my supplies right next to me. Really nice. Get that foot down, we'll get you out of the way for now. Glue, we'll put you over there. Oh, see, I'm knocking shit over all over the place. I need to get a power strip attached, like to the underside or to the side or something. So I don't always have to break my back getting under there. So we'll give that a chance to heat up. And we'll glue these down. I'd rather have these nice and secure so stuff ain't flopping around in here. And hope and pray that it all works. But while we're waiting, I'll shut it down, and when I come back we'll glue those on and get this bottom part down. Okay, I think this is hot enough. I think. This stuff's stringy too. There we go. At least here I can get to the shrink tubes. Which I prefer, but it's not a must. I do prefer. Still hot. So just gotta hold them so they're not flopping around. That's all. Let's unplug this so it's time to cool. I got this in a good deal at the dollar store. I'm glad I got it. It is a nice tool. But it was really cheap. It was on clearance, and I don't even remember. I think it was $5 for the gun and a whole bunch of sticks, which are buried down here somewhere. But I got a whole bag, like 2 bags of sticks, for like $5. Something crazy like that. All right. Yeah, you're gonna grab. There's a hot glue cobweb. What we probably should do here, I'll leave them alone. They have a less tendency to grab when they're spun together. And I know it's the ends that I was testing the power. Now make sure we didn't get any hot glue in the seam there. We're good. Now I think a smart thing to do is probably to do a dry fit. This is a little complicated because there's a lot going on here. Where do we go for it? How do I want to clamp this without it boogering up everything? The clamps. And how many pegs we got? We got, I guess these small ones here, I'd want a regular glue. I'm wondering if these small ones I could hit those with super glue. And hopefully there's no residue there. It's going to make it instantly kick, and then all these will do with a regular cement. Like I said, I cleaned the paint off them. I want to get a plan here as far as, I don't really want to tape down either. Unless I have an idea. I don't want the sticky side to be down, especially if it's clamping with all that pressure. I can make little square pads like this. I should wrap my feet with it, but I can stick them underneath. I'm trying to think of how many clamps I'm going to want. I'm at least going to want the two here that I can squeeze right in the middle. I'm probably going to want one there too in the center. Oh, I don't want to do that style. I'm so used to doing that. Tape will act as a little bit of a padding. It's in theory. I'm gonna need 3 because else I do something here. But this part goes together pretty good. We'll see. We'll see how it. Let's get a third one out. Alrighty, this is the part that always gets me nervous because things can get weird. But, and then later on I'll go through with all that, like on this side too. Get it down in the seams. I'm going to let everything cure before I start doing that, because that actually will activate the semi-wet glue, especially the model cement. So let's get little dabs on those. I'm also going to have to make sure I move these lights where I want them to. those impulse bulbs still want to kind of hit there. And this one we're definitely doing with regular cement. And I think I'll do those two with, I'm going to try. It might be a mistake. We're just going to have to do this quick. Alrighty, here we go. Now let me put some cement on here. These rest against the pylon tops. Now the whole thing is being able to see where your pegs are. Try to hit two up front. There we go. Just because I know that super glue is going to want to set first. Maybe I'll get. This is going to be the tricky part, is getting clamps. Yeah, we hear you. Seem to work. I'm gonna make sure these bolts are where I want them to be. That one's doing great. This one could use a little bit of movement. That works. It's working. The clamp is not sitting on the tape. Need one to clamp that down, for sure. Usually, get the clamp ready. Yeah, like I said, I'm definitely going to invest. Got like the upper part has that round. Of course you're upside down. I don't want the sticky side down. Do the same in the back. get one in there. Hold that down. I think I got to get a little glue in there too. Somehow. That's the key. That's the trick. And I could have put some on the wall on there. I can get something to clamp that. So we gotta sneak a little glue in there, and I think I'll use that liquid glue. Get this in there. Or should I take the adventure of trying something scary? Oh, hello. Sorry about that. My battery died again. I have it plugged in, and I guess this is just not one of those that will record while being plugged in and charged. So, because it seems like this has happened a couple times to me, and my old camera you could actually record while it was plugged in, and it wouldn't drain it out, wouldn't cut out on me. And this one, so far, I haven't seen. It seems like it doesn't do that, and you can't tell what the battery level you're at because it's doing that pulsating thing showing that you're charging where the things go like that. So I apologize, but she's together. I clamped it all together. What I was working on that last little segment there. Got everything down, got all this clamped down good. I went back, clamped other areas here that were a little spongy. I mean, I could have put some glue on those. This is hard because it's just a butt seam. It's not like there's a piece going in that can do something like that, where you can put a little glue on this edge and then, you know, and this here. And I believe that's pretty much the same back here, if I recall. So it's like, you know, do you want it oozing out all over, especially on this side where there's the detail? So I kind of planned on, what are you doing, kitty? What? She wants attention. She wants to be, you want to be in the camera? Anyway. She's always camera shy because when she does something cool and you want to take a picture of it, she won't do it again. But, yeah, so I kind of didn't want to and dealing with it, getting on my hands, trying to do stuff and the clamps. So I knew I was going to kind of clamp stuff and just run some of the thin glue in between. So it all worked out, you know. But I've always heard that this is a tough piece to get clamped together, you know, especially here and in the back. Those do have lips, so I could have probably done those. They do have pieces that fit up and inside, but it worked. I got it there. She's looking good. I don't know, maybe if I try to turn the camera light on, you might be able to see. But yeah, the rear end's all nice and front end's nice, and I've gone and puttied these seams already, especially the real bad one back here. And oh yeah, and I got the impulse engines in, so those covers are in. They're looking nice. I actually did a oops and glued them on backwards, the glass. I put it on this side. I don't know, that's not me not looking at the instructions, but everything's good. They're in there. I tested the flickering LEDs that I put back there. It looks really good. I'm getting pretty decent coverage out here. I've noticed on some models that I've been watching builds on TV, it's hard to get light out here because of the way the inside structure is of this pylon coming down. It comes way out. It would almost be good to put two small, like an SMD over here and maybe a regular one over there, but what I did is I put the cover on, saw how it was shining, and I actually took yeah, it's still in there. I took this bit and grinded away at that plastic, because now it's all solid, and I know these are on there good, and grind away a little bit to be able to push it as best I can over here. And it gets it decent, but it's definitely more brighter here. But they are angled like that, so it's not overboard. It looks good, especially with the diffusion of the lens being painted. What else? That's basically it. Waiting for, you know, most of this putty to dry. The spot putty dries pretty quick, so that's dry already. But once I put them on, it had a really bad gap there on this one where that cover went on. So I used more of an actual model putty, because that's going to be a structural issue there. I don't want that to crack. So the spot putty's good to fill in like just light seams. But when you know, like these were just light seams. It's really just getting rid of the seam, not filling a gap. And that I had to fill some gap, and I figured since I was doing that, let's make them both look nice. That I could have got away with, as far as maybe using this, because the rest of these areas, because there is a little bit of a gap there, and a little bit there. The rest of those I'm just going to fill with canopy maker. I just pour it in there, wipe it off with water, let it soak in or whatever it's going to do, shrink, and just do a couple of applications of it, because it's easy to clean up. I don't have to deal with sanding, and then I'll just go and touch all that up. But yeah, it looks good. I'm very happy with it. So, and what else I did is I started shrink tubing some of these wires out here. I separated them where I have the full on power, and I don't need that light draining my battery. So I already see it's 1 bar down already. I gotta see if I can get larger lasting batteries for this camera. I only got it, well, you'll notice because the video quality got better. The other camera, the video quality was just not there. So, and it comes with an extra battery, but anyway, I separated all the on power per each side. So this side has, from the bottom and top, I just shrink tubed them together. Separated the flashers. This one has the flasher from here and the flasher from here, which that worked out good too. The little trick I did with the piece of styrene going down, it worked pretty well, enough. Where I'm getting light is probably more from these, because these guys I think are shooting this way. And what I do is I get a little glow from the beacon, or this top one, from these. But when they pulse, it should be fine. And I don't think it's going to be bright enough to make a big difference. But yeah, I probably could have put some blockers here. But the main thing I was worried about is getting a flash in the impulse crystal, even though that light is pretty bright, or the impulse crystal bulb making this stay really bright. This is the light. The amount of light it's getting from one of these is dim, although I only tested one. I'm really curious when the two are on, but what can you do? If I ever build this kit again, I'll light block all that, or make a tube for the light to go into this and block it. That's what I did with the Enterprise bridge, because you have that beacon, but then you have all the bright lights for the bridge windows. And what I did is I took a tube styrene and a 3mm bulb, and that fit perfectly over the clear part that you put in from the kit, and then the bulb, so it blocks that. And then the bulb is the only thing giving it source light. And then being that the bulb fits right in there in that tube, it keeps everything else from flashing. Because I've seen a lot of people, like the windows on the back where the docking bay is on the bridge. I've seen those flicker a little bit on the other kits, and it minimized that. If not, I don't think I barely have it at all. But yeah, wow, what a lot of stuff going on. So I'm gonna, canopy glue these seams so they'll be light blocked, because I saw a little bit of light from the engines come through there. It's always, from what I've my understanding, there's always going to be there, no matter how much you prep prior. It's good watching those shows. I appreciate it, like Trek Works and stuff like that. They give you a heads up, and I try to do that when I go through these kits anyway. Is look at potential areas that it's going to come through. It's easier to light block. It's way easier to light block when it's apart, and then when it's together. And so if you can dry fit it, or just anticipate that it's going to do it. And the more you build, the more you know when you're going to have problems. And I might have a little bit up in here. Who knows? Check those seams out again now that I got them nice and tight. And if so, I'll just get some canopy glue. Canopy glue up in there and light block it that way. I got these pieces painted. I was about to insert them, but I figured it would be easier. They fit in there nice. So I'm not, and being that they're a separate piece with grids, they are these. They are these pieces here to have ridges. They definitely will look like a separate panel, so when I put them in there, I want to see. Come on, wires, get out of my way. And this might be the other side. I'm not sure. Oh, it fits in there pretty good. No, this is definitely the other side. Or do these go on the inside? No. These go here. I can get them in there and they can look like there's panels. It looks like this might have to get squished a little. It's springy. So I might actually put them in once I get the okay. I might actually put those in there once I attach the saucer. But I'm gonna go because I got a phone call, so thanks for watching.